just lightening this off, this yellow off to absolutely nothing. Now what I'm going to do is to take most of the clean water off the brush and just take out a round area up here for the sun. And sometimes I find the easiest way to do that is to take a paper towel. I've got it very slightly damp, and just to lift out the colour like that. Once I've done that, I can then go in with the dry paper towel and just take out any remaining raw sienna like that. Right, the sky's dried off quite nicely, and you can see the raw sienna has dried back. It's left our sun as the lightest part of the picture, and also it's left those little flecks of light between the edge of the raw sienna and the darkness of the cloud, so it gives almost like a silvery halo around the edge of the clouds. I'm just going to put in now a couple of headlands here and there, just to give, if you like, a bit of landscape that we can shine these shafts of sunlight on coming through the clouds. Right, you can see I've added a simple landscape below the sun. Here, these headlands are no more than the cloud shadow mixed a little bit stronger. Same again for this foreground here, where I've also added a little bit of raw sienna as a light patch, where I've imagined that the sun is going to shine through and drop some rays of light on the headland just here. I've dry brushed the water area there, left some light flecks, and I'm going to use one or two of these light flecks to aim the shafts of sunlight at. But what I'm going to do is to use the flat brush to create these shafts of sunlight, and incidentally you can see the paper towel, how well that's been used to take out paint and also blotting out bits and pieces here and there. So again, it emphasises the value of a piece of paper towel. Right, now I've wet the flat brush and I'm taking the excess water out of the brush with the paper towel. And all I'm doing is imagining in this case that the first shaft of sunlight is going to come from the sun behind that cloud there and break through in this light area here, and then run down to the light fleck in the water there like that. So let's give it a go. Having done that, you can see it's made what looks like a little bit of a dirty mark, but once we blot that out, as long as we've got a piece of clean paper towel, now you can see that shaft of sunlight opening up, can't you, cutting across the dark parts of the headland there. Now, do you remember where I got some raw sienna where I oughtn't to have done earlier, and we got a little light patch? Well, we'll use that to our advantage and create that as quite a wide shaft of sunlight. Again, blanking out. This time I'm going to run it down to here. Always remember the shafts of sunlight are pretty straight, which is another good reason to use the flat brush. Right, you've got to be careful and keep using clean water, otherwise you do what I've just done here. When you take a stripe out, you're actually putting dirty water back in if you're not careful, so we'll just easily resolve that. We'll do one from the sun onto this area here, so it's just going to catch this front edge of the cloud and probably very little else. Now all I've done is not much more than just take the edge of that darker cloud out. Right, now I know it's a bit daunting at first when you've painted a nice sky and a nice landscape to put a wet brush on it and run out streaks of water and then lift that out, because you're worried if it doesn't work the whole painting's ruined. But with a little bit of practice, I promise you very quickly get the confidence to do that as almost a second nature without worrying about it at all. You can also see I've used some of these light areas that I've left in the sky where there was neither water nor paint put onto the paper, and they've stayed absolutely white, and I've used them to imagine that the sunlight was shining behind the clouds and breaking through these little holes in the sky here and there. So I've added this couple of extra little shafts of sunlight. I've not taken them right to the edge of the page because I don't want to take the eye out of the picture, but it's enough just to show that the sunlight is breaking through the clouds wherever it can. So there we are. It's the evening sunlit sky with the shafts of sunlight breaking through, and really not as difficult as you might have thought, is it? So there we are, skies. You've had quite a lot of demonstrations of different types of sky, and I hope you found them all helpful, instructive, and above all enjoyable to watch. And better still, I hope you've actually practiced them and you've taken something from them and into the next DVD. Remember, skies more than anything will determine the mood of your painting, so always have an idea beforehand of what sort of atmosphere you're trying to create in your picture. Secondly, have a rough idea in your mind of where the big shapes and the lights and darks are going to be in your picture. In other words, we've got the lights here and the darker clouds over here, and so on. If you do that, you've got a fighting chance of making it work for you. Always mix more colour than you think you're going to need. Remember, you cannot afford to run out of paint in the middle of a sky and take time out to mix fresh paint. And if you start doing the sky and it does look like it's going to go wrong, don't panic. Just let it dry and see what happens. So if you do find things going wrong, don't worry, just stick at it, and I promise you, between you and me, we will get you to producing high quality watercolour paintings. And you've now got the flying start with watercolour skies. So I'll see you on the next DVD. Cheers.